scorpion here. Is your family prepared? Alright, so this is one of the ways that I keep my family prepared. I've had snowstorms leave me a week without power. And to me, it's better to have that extra food on hand than worry about what you're going to eat. So as you can see, I keep a pretty good stockpile of canned goods. Some of it canned by us. Some of it canned by the store. It's another pantry I have. That's actually canned meat. Be careful, if you don't know what you're doing, you can make yourself really sick if you don't can it right. Beans are a good source of protein. They're always good to have. My supplies are actually kind of low right now, but I still got plenty to get by on for a few weeks. Now, I do recommend more than just a few weeks. To me, minimum is like 30 days. But this is one way of being prepared, making sure your family has something to eat. I mean, who knows, we might get hit by an EMP from overseas, you not have power. Have a couple different ways to cook, just in case that happens, especially if you have an electric range. I have multiple freezers that normally stay stocked up, and most of you know you only have to run that freezer about 8 hours a day to keep everything frozen. Here's another one. The lighting isn't too awful good in here, but as you can see, it's a pretty decent sized freezer. I've got another fridge with the freezer in the top in the other room, fridge with the freezer in the top upstairs. Actually, two fridges with freezers in it. Like I said, I got a few more freezers. You got some stew down there in the bottom. I like hams and turkeys. They're always good. You can mix them up in different things. Fridge is a mess. I'm gonna have to clean that thing out. Not a whole lot in here, but there's a little bit. I'm not sure how much you'll be able to see in here. See if we can shed some light on the subject. There we go. So we'll try to keep a stockpile of dog food. I think it's 3 55-pound bags there. Actually just put 2 bags in this today. You can see we got another rack over here. It's got canned food in it. Keep a bunch of spices. This is normally our first go-to if we lose power, because you can eat this stuff cold or hot, it doesn't really matter. Just pop the top, throw your plastic spoon in it. But we keep a decent stock. We got some rice, some beans. Yeah. But all kinds of stuff. There's some more rice back there. Sugars. Another little stockpile of food. Yes, hello, what are you doing? Do you want to be on camera? And then last but not least, we've got a little overflow over here too. Some more canned stuff. No, we did not go crazy and buy a bunch of formula. We have 4 grandkids, 2 of which are still in the bottle. Some more canned goods. Normally try to stay a box or 2 ahead on, you know, the necessities there that everybody went crazy and bought as well. Grandma loves to bake cookies. So quite often there's boxes of cookies, and I think that's some of that's fudge and some of that's caramel. Don't forget the other spice rack here. Which actually reminds me, there's some over here too. Alright, so I can hear some of y'all hollering, you know, this freezer's gonna do you no good without power and, you know, stuff like that. But I have a gas generator. And like I said, you only have to run it a few hours a day to keep your freezers in check, as long as you're not going in and out of them. A lot of it can be timing and that kind of thing. I used to have 2 more full-size freezers. They were both chest freezers, and 2 more refrigerators with freezers in the basement. And when my house flooded like 2 years ago, they got ruined, and all the meat that was in them got ruined as well. So I'm working on stockpiling that back, but I'm also working on solar. I use Signature Solar, links below if you're interested in checking their stuff out. You know, as long as I got enough solar power to keep my fridges and freezers going, then I'm doing pretty good. That's definitely one step above. I do have a whole home generator as well, but it's not hooked up. It's not hooked to fuel or to the house. It's just kind of there. I poured the concrete slab and set it there and got caught up in other things. But the gas generator, it's enough to run that stuff. And we do have a pretty big storage of fuel around. So, I mean, there's different ways of doing stuff. You just you need to think outside of the box, think ahead. You know, don't wait until the event happens and then what are you going to do? I mean, you know, if there's a hurricane coming, everybody's running to the store to buy generators. You're not going to be able to buy one. You know, if a EMP happens, there's no warning. It's done, you know. Most of you know if there's a snowstorm coming, everybody goes to get milk and bread. I'm not sure why. But that seems to be the issues. You can't find milk or bread in the store. I guess they're just going to sit around and eat the bread. I don't know what they're going to do with the milk other than, I mean, you might be able to set it outside and it stay good. But like I've got a gas stove for like camping. I've got a grill. I've got a fire pit. There's multiple other ways I can cook. You know, will it last forever? No, but I've got stuff that doesn't need to be cooked that I can eat, and stuff that does need to be cooked that I can eat. You know, if you find that you're going to be without for a long time, you may want to ration, cut back to 1 meal a day instead of 3 meals a day. You know, something like that, so your food lasts longer. There's a lot of things you can do, but most of it's just going to be about being prepared. You know, having canned food is not the absolute best way to be prepared, but canned food's good for a few years. You know, as long as you're rotating it and you've got boxes of it on the shelves, you're pretty much, you know, good. Just like they rotate the food on the shelves in a store, you know, the newer stuff goes to the back and the older stuff comes to the front. So people buy what's on the front because they're not digging all the way to the back for stuff. You could do that with food. Um, but I mean, canned food, you can make that for a few months with a bunch of canned food. Um, canned, you know, can your own meat. We raise cows and chickens, so we have eggs, beef. Stock the freezer up when we kill a cow. Um, we grow gardens each year. That's where some of our canned goods come from. And if you can it yourself like that, I know I live in my grandparents' house, and when I moved in, there was canned goods um, still downstairs that my grandma canned that were older than me. So you're talking 25 years old, and it was still good. There was nothing wrong with it. I ate it all, you know, because grandma used to do a garden, so there was a lot of green beans, and a lot of peaches and different things like that. Because she had trees in the yard. She picked. She had a peach and a plum and an apple and a bunch of other stuff. There's a couple different nut trees in the yard. So, you know, she used to can that stuff and freeze that stuff so it would last. And it's just, you know, what's important to you. You know, it's not going to do you no good to plant a fruit tree if you don't eat fruits, or a nut tree if you don't eat nuts. You know, but it may be worth it, you know, to grow a little garden. It doesn't take that big of a garden to grow enough green beans for the whole year. Um, you know, do some of your watermelons and stuff like that. Can your own foods, even if you don't grow it yourself. Go to the community markets where other farmers are selling their stuff. Buy theirs. Um, Number one, you're supporting your local, you know, friends and stuff. But number two, it's better for you too than what's coming from the store that's canned in cans and has all those preservatives and additives and everything else in it. So I always, you know, try to go local or raise my own before uh, I go to the store bought stuff. But just a little video just to show you, you know, there's different ways you can store food. Um, there's nothing wrong with storing it in freezers and having freezers full of food and stuff, but you need to have some type of backup power to keep those running. Um, you know, you don't necessarily have to run them all day like they normally do. Um, you can get up and run it for 4 hours in the morning and then run it for 4 hours before you go to bed at night, or you know, something like that. It's about all I can think of. But if y'all can think of anything else, add it in the comments. This is just like one of your first steps. If you're new, you know, they've got stuff online you can buy that's good for like 20 years. They've got all this other stuff that costs a fortune, but you know, you can start in your local area, in your local store. Buy extra case of green beans each time you go shopping until you get enough, and then buy extra thing of spaghetti, you know, each time you go, and then buy extra thing of you know, raviolis each time you go until you feel like you have enough. It's room to store it is kind of one of the biggest things, and I've got a big house, so I've got plenty of room. Um, but you know, start somewhere. We're kind of in some unsure times with money and food and the shipping situations and tariffs, and uh, just stuff can change. And if you're not set up for it to make that blow easier, you may run into some issues or some problems, and you got to take care of your house first. You know, take care of your family, your kids, your dogs. You know, if something gets hard to find, you know, it may be a few months before